Imagine waking up 30 days from now and realizing everything has changed. Not because of some miracle, not because you got lucky, but because of the small intentional choices you made every single day. Change doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen daily. It's the habits we cultivate that shape our future. And today, I want to share with you 5 daily habits that, if practiced consistently, will transform your life in just 1 month. How you begin your day determines how you'll live it. Most people wake up and immediately react to emails, to social media, to the noise of the world. But what if instead you set an intention before the day even begins? Every morning, ask yourself, what is one thing I can do today that will make me proud when I go to bed? When you start with purpose, you don't just let life happen to you. You take control of it. It's easy to focus on what's missing, what's wrong, or what's frustrating. But gratitude shifts your perspective when you take a moment each day to acknowledge what you have. Whether it's your health, your relationships, or simply the opportunity to try again, you train your brain to see possibility instead of problems. And here's the powerful part. Gratitude isn't just about feeling good. It creates a mindset of abundance. When you believe you have enough, you stop chasing things that don't matter and start building on what does. Distraction is the enemy of progress. We live in a world of constant notifications, endless scrolling, and multitasking. But the people who achieve great things aren't the ones doing 100 little tasks. They're the ones focusing on the work that matters. Set aside time every day for deep, uninterrupted focus. No emails, no social media, just you and the task that moves your life forward. When you master deep work, you accomplish more in an hour than most do in a day. We all want growth, but we resist discomfort. We avoid hard conversations, difficult tasks, and situations that stretch us. But here's the truth. Everything you want exists just beyond your comfort zone. So do something uncomfortable every day. Speak up in a meeting, wake up an hour earlier, push yourself at the gym. Because when you get comfortable being uncomfortable, you unlock potential you never knew existed. Most people live on autopilot. They do the same things every day, hoping for different results. But success isn't just about doing, it's about learning. Before you go to bed, take 5 minutes to reflect. What did I do well today? What could I improve? Small adjustments lead to massive change. And when you commit to learning from each day, every tomorrow becomes better than yesterday. Imagine if you did this not once, not twice, but every single day for the next 30 days. Waking up with purpose, feeling grateful, doing deep, meaningful work, pushing beyond your limits, learning and growing. You wouldn't just be the same person with a few better habits. You'd be a completely transformed version of yourself. And the best part, you wouldn't just change your life, you'd inspire others to do the same. Because real change isn't about what we say, it's about what we do consistently every single day. So the question isn't, can you do this? The question is, will you? How you start your day sets the tone for everything that follows. It's the difference between reacting to life and leading it. Most people wake up, roll over, and the first thing they do is grab their phone. They scroll through emails, check social media, and within minutes they are bombarded with the world's noise. Before they even get out of bed, they've already surrendered control of their day. And they wonder why they feel overwhelmed, scattered, and unproductive. But what if there was another way? What if, instead of letting the outside world dictate your mindset, you took charge the moment you opened your eyes? The most successful people in the world don't wake up and hope for a good day. They create one. They start with intention. They begin with clarity. And because they do, they are able to navigate their day with purpose and focus rather than distraction and chaos. And here's the best part. You don't have to be rich, famous, or a CEO to do the same. You just need to make a choice. The choice to start your day with purpose. The choice to set the direction before the world does it for you. It starts with a simple question. What is one thing I can do today that will make me proud when I go to bed? Think about that. Not what's on your to-do list. Not what other people expect from you, but what is one action, one decision, one moment that will make you feel like today mattered? It doesn't have to be earth-shattering. It just has to be intentional. Maybe it's having a tough conversation you've been avoiding. Maybe it's making real progress on a passion project instead of just thinking about it. Maybe it's showing up for someone in a way that truly makes a difference. Whatever it is, By answering this question first thing in the morning, you take control of your day before it takes control of you. But purpose isn't just about setting a goal. It's about setting your mindset. Most people start their day already thinking about the problems ahead. The stress of deadlines, the worries about money, the endless list of things that need to get done. They step out of bed already feeling behind. But when you wake up with intention, you don't focus on the problems, you focus on the possibilities. And that one shift changes everything. Here's what happens when you start your day this way. First, you develop clarity. You know what actually matters, which means you stop wasting energy on things that don't. You stop saying yes to distractions and obligations that pull you away from what's truly important. Second, you create momentum. When you begin your day with a clear focus, you naturally make better decisions. You don't just react to emails, texts, and social media. You act with purpose. You set the tone instead of following someone else's. And third, you build confidence. Because every day, you're proving to yourself that you're in control, that you're not just drifting through life. You're designing it. Now let's talk about what this actually looks like in practice. Because it's one thing to understand the idea of starting your day with purpose. It's another to make it a daily habit. It begins the night before. If you go to bed with your mind racing, with no clear plan for the next day, you're setting yourself up for a morning of confusion and procrastination. But if, before you go to sleep, you take just 5 minutes to think about the next day, to decide what matters most. You wake up already knowing what needs to be done. Then when the morning comes, resist the temptation to dive straight into the noise. No emails, no social media, no endless scrolling. Just take a few moments to breathe, to reflect, and to remind yourself of your intention. Some people do this through meditation. Some people write it down in a journal. Others simply sit in silence for a minute and think. It doesn't matter how you do it. What matters is that you do. And here's where the real magic happens. When you start your day this way, with intention, with clarity, with purpose, you begin to see opportunities that you would have otherwise missed. You recognize moments where you can make an impact. You become more present, more engaged, more alive, because instead of simply going through the motions, you're living deliberately. Think about the alternative. Think about how most people live. They wake up, rush through their morning, barely aware of what they're doing. They go from one task to the next, always feeling behind, always feeling overwhelmed. They end their day exhausted but not fulfilled, busy but not productive. And worst of all, they don't even know why. They wonder why they feel stuck, why they feel uninspired, why they feel like life is happening to them instead of for them. But that's not you, not anymore. Because now you have a choice. You can wake up tomorrow and do what you've always done, or you can take back control. You can decide right now that you will start your day with intention, that you will begin each morning with a clear focus, that you will lead your life instead of just reacting to it. And if you do this, if you commit to this one simple habit for the next 30 days, you will be amazed at how much changes. You will feel more in control, more confident, more fulfilled. Not because of some grand transformation, but because of the small daily decision to live with purpose. So tomorrow morning, when you wake up, ask yourself, what is one thing I can do today that will make me proud when I go to bed? And then do it. Because that is how real change happens, not in one big leap, but in the quiet, consistent choice to start each day with purpose. How you start your day determines how you live it. Most people wake up and immediately dive into the chaos of the world, scrolling through their phones, checking emails, reacting to notifications. Before they've even gotten out of bed, their minds are flooded with distractions, stress, and external pressures. They are already playing defense, responding to everything being thrown at them, instead of setting their own direction. But what if instead you took control of your morning? What if before anything else you decided what kind of day you were going to have? Starting your day with purpose is one of the most powerful habits you can build. It means waking up and asking yourself a simple but profound question. What is one thing I can do today that will make me proud when I go to bed? This isn't about writing a long to-do list or thinking about what others expect from you. It's about setting an intention, defining what truly matters, and making sure you prioritize it. Maybe it's making meaningful progress on a project, having an important conversation, or even showing up fully for the people around you. Whatever it is, when you start your day with clarity, you give yourself a direction rather than drifting aimlessly. But purpose isn't just about setting goals. It's about setting your mindset. Too often people wake up already overwhelmed by the problems they expect to face. They anticipate stress, difficulties, and obstacles, and as a result, they find exactly what they expect. But when you shift your perspective, when you start your morning focused on possibilities instead of problems, you begin to see opportunities that would have otherwise gone unnoticed. Imagine waking up and instead of checking your phone, you take a few quiet moments to breathe, to reflect, to visualize how you want the day to unfold. Some people write down their goals, others simply sit in silence, but the key is the same. Before you let the world in, you take control of your own mind. This small shift makes an incredible difference. Instead of stepping into the day feeling scattered or reactive, you move through it with clarity and purpose. You become proactive rather than reactive, and over time, this habit compounds, transforming not just your days, but your entire life. Another habit that has the power to change your life in 30 days is the practice of gratitude. It's easy to focus on what's missing, on what's wrong, on what we don't have. Our minds are wired to look for problems. It's a survival mechanism that has been with us for thousands of years. But while this instinct may have helped our ancestors survive, in today's world, it often keeps us stuck in a cycle of frustration and negativity. Gratitude is the antidote. When you intentionally take time each day to acknowledge what you have, you shift your entire perspective. Instead of seeing obstacles, you see opportunities. Instead of focusing on what you lack, you appreciate what you've already built. And the impact of this is enormous. Gratitude doesn't just make you feel good. It changes how you think, how you act, and how you engage with the world around you. One of the simplest ways to build this habit is by starting or ending your day with a gratitude practice. It could be as simple as writing down 3 things you're grateful for each morning before you begin your day. And these don't have to be big things. Sometimes the most powerful gratitude comes from appreciating the small moments, the warmth of the sun on your face, the sound of laughter from a loved one, the fact that you have another day to try again. What happens when you do this consistently is fascinating. Your brain starts to change. Studies have shown that people who practice gratitude regularly experience lower levels of stress and anxiety, greater levels of happiness, and even improved physical health. This isn't just feel-good advice, it's backed by science. When you actively look for things to appreciate, your brain begins to rewire itself to focus more on the positive aspects of life rather than the negative. And as a result, you start attracting more of what you focus on. But gratitude isn't just about feeling good, it's about creating a foundation for resilience. Life will always bring challenges. There will always be difficult days, setbacks, and moments of uncertainty. But when you have a strong gratitude practice, you don't get knocked down as easily. You develop a mindset that allows you to navigate challenges with a greater sense of perspective. Instead of seeing failures as the end of the road, you recognize them as lessons. Instead of feeling defeated, you remind yourself of how far you've already come. And perhaps most importantly, gratitude shifts how you show up for others. When you are grateful for the people in your life, you treat them differently. You listen more attentively. You appreciate their presence instead of taking it for granted. You express kindness more freely. And in doing so, you strengthen your relationships, which in turn creates even more reasons to be grateful. It's a cycle that once started has the power to transform not just your mindset, but your entire reality. The beauty of these 2 habits, starting your day with purpose and practicing gratitude, is that they feed into each other. When you begin your morning with clear intention, you are naturally more aware of the opportunities around you. And when you consistently practice gratitude, you find even more reasons to stay motivated, focused, and inspired. Over time, these habits don't just change how you feel, they change who you are. The question isn't whether or not these habits work, the question is whether or not you will commit to them. Because in the end, transformation isn't about big dramatic actions, it's about the small daily choices we make. The choice to start your day with purpose. The choice to look for the good rather than focus on the bad. The choice to lead your life instead of simply reacting to it. So tomorrow morning, before you do anything else, take a moment to set your intention. Decide what will make today meaningful, and before the day ends, find at least one thing to be grateful for. Do this not just once, but for 30 days. And see for yourself just how much can change when you take control of your days instead of letting them control you. How you start your day shapes everything that follows. Most people wake up and immediately react, grabbing their phone, checking emails, scrolling through social media. Before they even get out of bed, their mind is already consumed with distractions, stress, and obligations. They are playing defense, letting the outside world dictate their thoughts and actions. But what if instead you took control? What if before the world had a chance to pull you in 100 different directions, you decided what truly mattered for the day? Starting your day with purpose is a simple habit, but its impact is profound. It begins with a single question. What is one thing I can do today that will make me proud when I go to bed? This isn't about checking off tasks on a to-do list or just getting things done. It's about clarity. It's about making sure that no matter what happens, you have taken at least one meaningful action that aligns with who you want to become. Maybe it's making progress on a project that truly matters to you. Maybe it's having a conversation you've been putting off. Maybe it's taking time for yourself instead of always prioritizing everyone else. When you start your day with this kind of focus, everything changes. You move through your day with intention rather than simply reacting. You make better decisions because you already know what's most important. And by the time the day ends, you feel a sense of fulfillment instead of wondering where all your time went. But purpose isn't just about what you do, it's also about how you think. Most people wake up and immediately focus on problems. The stress of work, the pressures of life, the obstacles ahead. And because they focus on these things, that's all they see. But what if instead you trained your mind to see the opportunities, to look for what's possible instead of what's wrong? This shift doesn't happen by accident. It happens by building a daily habit of gratitude. Gratitude is one of the most powerful tools for shifting your perspective. When you take even a few moments each day to recognize what you have rather than what you lack, you rewire your brain. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by challenges, you feel equipped to handle them. Instead of focusing on what's missing, you appreciate what's already present. And the result, you begin to experience more joy, more energy, and a deeper sense of fulfillment. A simple way to practice this is by taking a few minutes each morning or evening to write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big. Sometimes the most powerful gratitude comes from the small moment. A kind word from a stranger, a great conversation, the fact that you have another chance to grow and improve. Over time, this habit changes not just how you feel, but how you see the world. You stop taking things for granted. You start noticing the good that was always there. And most importantly, you create a mindset that allows you to navigate life's challenges with resilience rather than frustration. But gratitude alone isn't enough. To truly make the most of each day, you also need to master the skill of deep work. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. Notifications, email, social media. It's easy to spend an entire day feeling busy, but not actually accomplishing anything meaningful. Most people move from one small task to another, constantly interrupted, constantly multitasking, never fully focused. And then they wonder why they feel exhausted but unfulfilled at the end of the day. Deep work is the solution. It means setting aside focused, uninterrupted time for the work that truly matters. No emails, no social media, no distractions, just you and the task that will move your life forward. The difference between those who make real progress and those who stay stuck isn't talent or intelligence. It's focus, the ability to shut out the noise and do the work that actually matters. The problem is, most people never give themselves the chance to enter this state of deep focus. They check their phone every few minutes, respond to emails as they come in, and bounce from one task to another. But every time you switch task, you lose momentum. Your brain has to refocus, and that constant switching drains your energy without actually producing results. The key to deep work is creating boundaries. Set aside specific time blocks where you eliminate distractions and commit to focused effort. Turn off notifications, close unnecessary tabs. Let people know that during this time you are not available. At first it might feel uncomfortable. Your mind will crave the quick hit of dopamine that comes from checking your phone or responding to an email. But over time, as you build this habit, you'll start to notice something incredible. You'll get more done in an hour than most people do in an entire day. You'll make real progress instead of just staying busy. And most importantly, you'll experience the deep satisfaction that comes from doing meaningful work instead of just going through the motions. When you put these three habits together, starting your day with purpose, practicing gratitude, and prioritizing deep work, you create a system that transforms not just your productivity, but your entire mindset. You wake up knowing what matters. You train your brain to focus on what's good, and you develop the discipline to do the work that leads to real success. The challenge isn't understanding these habits, the challenge is committing to them. Because change doesn't happen overnight. It happens through small, consistent actions, through choosing every single day to take control of your time and your mindset. It's easy to let the world dictate your focus. It's easy to get lost in distractions. It's easy to stay busy without actually making progress. But if you're willing to do the work, if you're willing to build these habits, the results will be undeniable. Imagine where you could be in 30 days if you committed to this. Waking up with a clear purpose instead of feeling lost. Moving through your day with a sense of gratitude instead of frustration. Making real progress on the things that matter instead of just staying busy. The choice is yours. The habits are simple, but their impact is profound. The only question is, will you do it? How you start your day determines how you live it. Most people wake up and immediately fall into the trap of reacting, checking their phones, scrolling through social media, responding to messages. Before they even step out of bed, their mind is flooded with distractions, stress, and external pressures. They let the outside world dictate their focus instead of setting their own course. But imagine if you took control. Imagine if before anything else, you decided what truly mattered for the day. Starting your day with purpose is not just a good idea, it's a necessity. It begins with a simple but powerful question. What is one thing I can do today that will make me proud when I go to bed? This is not about overwhelming yourself with a long to-do list or getting caught up in obligations that don't inspire you. It's about clarity. It's about making sure that no matter what happens, at least one meaningful action moves you forward. Maybe it's working on a project that excites you. Maybe it's having a difficult conversation you've been avoiding. Maybe it's dedicating time to something that genuinely brings you joy. When you start your day with this kind of focus, everything shifts. You stop reacting and start leading. You begin making decisions based on intention, not urgency. And when the day ends, you feel fulfilled rather than just exhausted. But setting a purpose isn't enough on its own. You also have to cultivate the right mindset. Most people wake up and immediately focus on problems. They think about what could go wrong, what they lack, what they fear. And because their mind is trained to expect challenges, that's exactly what they find. But there is another way. Instead of beginning each day with stress, you can begin it with gratitude. Gratitude is not just about feeling good. It's about shifting your entire perspective. When you take time each day to recognize what you already have, your brain starts to focus on opportunities instead of obstacles. Instead of dwelling on what's missing, you begin to appreciate what's present. And the impact is profound. People who practice gratitude regularly experience lower stress levels, greater happiness, and even better physical health. They feel more in control because they see their life through a lens of abundance rather than scarcity. This habit is simple but powerful. Each morning or evening, take a few minutes to write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be life-changing. Sometimes the smallest things have the greatest impact. The laughter of a friend, a good cup of coffee, the simple fact that you have another chance to grow. When you build this habit consistently, you rewire your mind. You stop taking the good in your life for granted. You start seeing opportunities that were always there, but were once invisible to you. And most importantly, you create a mindset that allows you to navigate difficulties with resilience rather than fear. But gratitude alone won't move you forward. To truly make an impact each day, you must also master the skill of deep work. In a world filled with distractions, most people never experience true focus. They check their phone every few minutes. They bounce from one task to another, never fully immersing themselves in anything meaningful. And at the end of the day, they feel exhausted but unfulfilled, busy but not productive. The reason is simple. They are constantly switching tasks, and every time they do, their brain loses momentum. Deep work is the ability to focus without distraction on a task that truly matters. It's the difference between making progress and simply staying busy. It's what allows you to create something valuable instead of just reacting to small, urgent demands. And it's a skill that must be intentionally developed. To build the habit of deep work, set aside specific time blocks where you eliminate distractions completely. Turn off notifications. Close unnecessary tabs. Let others know that during this time you are unavailable. At first, this will feel difficult. Your brain is wired to crave distractions, to seek out the next email, the next message, the next dopamine hit. But over time, as you strengthen your ability to focus, something incredible happens. You accomplish more in 1 hour than most people do in an entire day. You make progress on things that actually matter. And most importantly, you experience the deep satisfaction that comes from meaningful work rather than just checking off tasks. But even with purpose, gratitude, and deep work, there's one more habit that will elevate your life in ways you can't imagine: movement. Most people treat exercise as a core something they should do, but rarely prioritize. But movement is not just about fitness. It's about energy, it's about clarity, it's about creating a state where your mind and body work together at their highest level. When you move your body daily, everything else becomes easier. Your mind becomes sharper. Your mood improves. Your ability to handle stress increases. And yet in today's world, movement is often the first thing people sacrifice when life gets busy. They sit all day, hunched over screens, barely giving their body the care it needs. And then they wonder why they feel tired, sluggish, and uninspired. The good news is that movement doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't require hours in the gym or intense training sessions. A 20-minute walk, a short workout, stretching in the morning, anything that gets your body moving will make an immediate difference. The goal is not just physical fitness, but mental clarity, because when you move, you create energy. You reset your brain. You shake off stress and step into a state where you can perform at your best. These 4 habits, starting your day with purpose, practicing gratitude, mastering deep work, and moving your body, are simple. But their impact is massive. When you combine them, you create a foundation for success, not just in work, but in every area of life. When you wake up with direction, you see opportunities instead of obstacles. You make real progress instead of just staying busy. And you develop the energy and focus to show up fully every single day. The challenge isn't understanding these habits, the challenge is committing to them. Because real change doesn't happen overnight, it happens through small, consistent actions. Through choosing every single day to take control of your time, your mindset, and your energy. It's easy to let the world dictate your focus. It's easy to fall into distractions. It's easy to stay in the cycle of stress, exhaustion, and feeling stuck. But if you're willing to do the work, if you're willing to build these habits, the results will be undeniable. Imagine where you could be in 30 days if you committed to this. Waking up with a sense of purpose instead of confusion. Moving through your day with gratitude instead of frustration. Accomplishing meaningful work instead of just staying busy. Feeling energized instead of drained. The choice is yours. The habits are simple, but their impact is profound. The only question is, will you do it? How you live your days is how you live your life. Most people wake up and immediately start reacting, grabbing their phones, scrolling through notifications, responding to emails before they even get out of bed. They let the outside world set the tone instead of deciding for themselves. And because they start their day in reaction mode, they spend the rest of it the same way, responding to distractions, handling emergencies, constantly feeling overwhelmed, but never truly making progress. But what if instead you took control? What if before anything else you decided what truly mattered that day? Starting your day with purpose is one of the simplest but most powerful habits you can build. It means waking up and asking yourself a single question: what is one thing I can do today that will make me proud when I go to bed? This isn't about checking off random tasks or responding to other people's demands. It's about making sure that at least one meaningful action moves you closer to the person you want to become. Maybe it's making real progress on an important project, having a difficult but necessary conversation, or dedicating time to learning something new. When you begin the day with intention, you stop drifting. You stop letting distractions steal your time. You create clarity, and with clarity comes focus. And when you make this a daily habit, you begin to feel a sense of momentum, a feeling that every day has purpose, instead of just passing by. But purpose isn't enough on its own. You must also develop the right mindset. Most people wake up and immediately focus on what's missing. They think about what they don't have, what might go wrong, the obstacles in their way. And because they expect struggle, that's exactly what they find. But there's another way to live. Instead of starting each day with stress, you can start it with gratitude. Gratitude isn't just about feeling good, it's about training your mind to focus on what's right instead of what's wrong. When you take even a few minutes each day to recognize what you already have, your brain starts looking for opportunities instead of problems. You shift from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. You stop taking things for granted. And the impact is enormous. Studies show that people who practice gratitude regularly experience lower stress, greater happiness, and even better physical health. But the real power of gratitude is that it builds resilience. Life will always bring challenges, but when you train yourself to see the good, you become stronger. You handle setbacks without losing momentum. You find solutions instead of excuses. And over time, this simple habit changes not just how you feel, but how you show up in the world. But mindset alone won't create results. To truly move forward, you need to master the art of deep work. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. Notifications, social media, endless emails. It's easy to spend an entire day feeling busy, but not actually accomplishing anything meaningful. Most people jump from one small task to another, never fully engaging, never making real progress. And then they wonder why they feel exhausted but unfulfilled. Deep work is the opposite of this. It's the ability to focus intensely on something that matters without distraction for an extended period of time. It's what allows you to create something valuable instead of just reacting to minor tasks all day. And the difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck isn't intelligence, it's focus. The ability to shut out distractions and do the work that actually moves the needle forward. The key is to build protected time for deep work. Block out time in your day where you eliminate distractions, turn off notifications, close unnecessary tabs. Let people know you're unavailable. At first, your mind will resist. You'll crave the instant gratification of checking messages or switching tasks. But the more you practice, the more you strengthen your ability to focus. And when you do, you'll accomplish more in an hour than most people do in an entire day. You'll stop feeling overwhelmed by endless tasks and start making tangible progress. You'll feel the satisfaction of meaningful work instead of just the exhaustion of being busy. But even with purpose, gratitude, and focus, there is another habit that can change everything: movement. Most people treat exercise as a luxury, something they should do but never prioritize. But movement isn't just about fitness, it's about energy. It's about clarity. It's about creating the physical and mental state that allows you to operate at your best. When you move your body daily, everything else becomes easier. Your mood improves. Your mind becomes sharper. Your ability to handle stress increases. And yet in today's world, movement is often the first thing people sacrifice when life gets busy. They sit all day barely giving their body the care it needs. Then they wonder why they feel tired, sluggish, and uninspired. But movement doesn't have to be complicated. A 20-minute walk, a short workout, even stretching in the morning, it all makes a difference. The goal isn't just to be physically strong, but mentally sharp. Because when you move, you create energy. You reset your brain. You shake off stress and step into a state where you can perform at your highest level. And once this becomes a habit, you'll notice something incredible. Your productivity increases. Your mood lifts, and your ability to focus sharpens. The final habit that can transform your life in 30 days is reflection. Most people go through life on autopilot. They move from one day to the next without ever stopping to ask if they are headed in the right direction. They repeat the same mistakes, fall into the same patterns, and wonder why nothing changes. But change doesn't happen by accident. Growth doesn't happen automatically. It happens when you pause, reflect, and adjust. Reflection is the habit of looking at your day and asking, what worked? What didn't? What will I do differently tomorrow? It's about learning from your experiences instead of repeating them blindly. It's about making small, intentional adjustments that compound over time. And when you make this a daily habit, you stop feeling stuck. You start noticing patterns. You gain self-awareness. And most importantly, you give yourself the ability to course correct before a small mistake turns into a major problem. When you combine these 5 habits, starting your day with purpose, practicing gratitude, mastering deep work, prioritizing movement, and building reflection, you create a foundation for transformation. You wake up with intention. You see opportunities instead of obstacles. You make real progress instead of just staying busy. You generate the energy and focus to show up fully every single day. And most importantly, you develop the awareness to keep improving instead of staying stuck. The challenge isn't understanding these habits, the challenge is committing to them. Because real change doesn't happen overnight. It happens through small, consistent actions. Through choosing every single day to take control of your time, your mindset, and your mind-G. It's easy to let the world dictate your focus. It's easy to stay distracted, overwhelmed, and reactive. But if you're willing to do the work, if you're willing to build these habits, the results will be undeniable. Imagine where you could be in 30 days if you committed to this, waking up with a sense of direction instead of confusion, moving through your day with gratitude instead of stress, making meaningful progress instead of just checking off tasks, feeling energized instead of drained. The choice is yours. The habits are simple, but their impact